Alright, this video is going to be Intro to Trig. Alright, trigonometry is basically studying angles and different things like that. So let's start out with actually what angles are. Alright, angles are the measure of separation between two connected lines. This here is an angle, of course. I'm sure all of you know that. The angle is measured from here to here. So this would be your angle measure inside here. At this point here, where the two lines meet, that is your vertex. Alright. Now with an angle, you have the two different sides of the angle are called two different things. Now if you notice, we started here and went to this side. Since we started with this side, this is called our initial side. Alright, this is our initial side. And the side you end up on, or the other side, is your terminal side. Alright, so you have your initial side, which is your starting side, and your terminal side, which is your ending side. Alright. Now normally when you write angles, okay, angles are normally written with lowercase Greek letters lowercase Greek letters such as, let's say, alpha. Alright. I like to use theta a lot. Okay, that's alpha, looks like a little fish. Okay, this is theta, which looks like a circle with a slash through it. Or you can even write them with letters A, B, C. Okay, and so forth. It can be any letter. So it can be even with Greek letters or normal letters. It doesn't matter. You could even use beta. It doesn't matter as long, well, really nothing. It doesn't matter. You can write them with Greek letters or normal alphabetical letters. A lot of times in math, though, you'll see them written with Greek letters, especially higher order math or higher level math. All right. So that's pretty much an angle. You have your initial side, which is your starting side, your vertex, which is where your two sides meet, and your terminal side, which is your ending side. And then, of course, your angle is between there. All right. And also, now the measured degrees of separation. Normally, it's when starting at starting at the initial side and going to the terminal side. So if this was our initial side, all right, and this was our terminal side, our angle would be this. That would be our angle. All right, not necessarily this here. All right. Now, we'll get into where you are naming both angles. I'm naming this in theta. Okay. We'll get into where you're doing both, but normally you go from your initial to your terminal side in a counterclockwise motion, just like you would do in the quadrants, because this is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're going to follow the quadrants in order normally, unless told otherwise. All right. Now, now let's talk about the degree system, because there's two systems to measure angles. We're going to go over them both in this video. And after this, we'll probably be using the second system more so than degrees. All right. So, degree system, it's mainly used in geometry and surveying. The symbol, as all y'all know, is a small little circle. For example, something like 30 degrees. It's a small little circle. All right. And a complete rotation is 0 to 360 degrees. All right. So you always start here. This would be 0 degrees. Straight up, going in this direction. Now remember, this is going positive angles, so this would be positive. So this is 90 degrees, heading on around. This will be 180 degrees. Again, we're still going in the positive direction. All right, still going around. Straight down is 270 degrees. And then winding back up at 0, we're going to be at 360 degrees. All right, so that's a full rotation. All right, that is a full rotation. Now, if you go backwards, okay, if you start, this is always 0, but if you start and go the negative way around, all right, this here would be negative 90 degrees, not negative 270. If you keep going the negative way around, all right, this will be negative 180 degrees, not positive 180 degrees, even though it's the exact same measure. So to speak, it's not, because one's positive, one's negative. All right, continue to go around. This would be negative 270 degrees, and then finishing back around at negative 360 degrees. All right, now, if you do go backwards for some reason, if you're told to go backwards and you get negative 270 degrees, if you said 90, that means you're starting here and going this direction. All right, so you're only going physically 90 degrees. But to signify that you've gone almost, that you've gone 3/4 the way around, you need to say negative 270. All right, you need to, so make sure if you go counterclockwise, you're calling your angle positive, and if you go clockwise, make sure you're calling your angle negative. All right, that's the only way, that's kind of the only way to differentiate between the two. All right, now let's talk about the radian system a little bit. All right, radian system is an angle measure system that also describes distance. All right, and normally you work with it on a what's called a unit circle, which is a circle with a radius of 1. All right, so from here to here would be 1. If you would put a hash mark here, that'd be a 1. This would be a 1. This over here would be, of course, a negative 1 because you're going backwards, and this would be a negative 1 because you're going down. All right, but this everywhere this has a radius of 1. All right. Now, starting out, here you have 0, but now you have radians, not 0 degrees. There's no little mark you put up there. All you would do is you could write out radians, or you could shorten it to RAD, rad. All right, you can shorten it if you want. All right, so same thing. If you go counterclockwise around the circle, your angles are positive. So this would be pi over 2. All right. Remember this is 90 degrees. I'll write that in here too. This is 90 degrees. 90 degrees in radians is pi over 2. I'll get to y later. Maybe not this video, but later. All right. If you keep going around the positive direction, this is pi radians. If you keep going around, this is 3 pi over 2 radians. And then when you finish up, you finish back at 2 pi. All right, now keep in mind, all of these are radians. So I'm going to write rad after it. All right. Now, 90 degrees is pi over 2. 1 pi is 180 degrees. This is 270 degrees. And then, of course, 2 pi is 360 degrees. Why did that do that? Okay, this is 3. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I hate this thing. Okay, I want a grid. This would be 360 degrees. All right, ignore this little red line right there. Now, the reason this is, okay, the reason this is with radians, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you now why. The circumference of this circle, all right, is pi times diameter, right? which equals 2 pi times the radius. All right. Well, if you divide the radius out of this, you're simply left with the 2 pi. All right. You're simply left with the 2 pi. So if you take any circle and divide out the radius, it's always going to be 2 pi around. All right. And if you were to actually take the radius of this circle and lay it around here, all right, and lay it around here, it would go around 6.28. Okay, you could lay 6.28 radiuses or radii around this circle. All right, so if this was the radius of 1, all right, you could lay one here. You'd have 1, 2, 3. You'd have a little bit extra because remember pi is 3.14. So then you go 4, 5, 6, and you'd still have some extra, and it'd be 0.28. All right, so it helps you. The reason it would, sorry, the reason I say up there that it's a measuring system that also describes distance is because it deals with the radius of the circle. All right, if you want to know how far around you've gone, take your angle, multiply it by your radius. That's how far you've gone. That's how far it is from here to here. All right, we have a radius of 1. So if you multiply it out, we've gone 3.14 distance from here to here. All right, whatever the units were. If it's inches, we've gone 3.14 inches. All right. So this is radian measure. All right. You will need to become very, very, very familiar with this. All right. For instance, if we added some angles into here, like so, I was really bad at hitting the origin there, apparently. All right. If this was, okay, well, never mind. I'll get into that in another video. All right. Well, I was gonna give you a little preview to some converting between some measurements, but we'll do that later. It'll make more sense later when I tell you. So, as we talk about radian measure, you need to make sure that you get comfortable with dealing with radians, talking about radians, and understanding when I say an angle is, say, pi radians or 5 pi over 2 radians or whatever, that you understand what I'm talking about. And even if you don't know the exact angle immediately, that you can at least draw out a unit circle, draw your angle in, and figure out where the angle goes. All right, you'll see Radian system, the Radian system from here on out in math. I promise you that. All right, so make sure that you understand radian measure just as good, if not better, than you understood degree measure. All right. I don't have a ticket in the door with this one. I don't have any U-tries. So it's simply an informational video. So make sure you understand radian measure, and we'll work on some problems tomorrow in class. See you tomorrow.